Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for forbidding my brother from wearing a dress? I, 32F, am getting married in early July. I have a 15-year-old brother, as well as a twin sister and older brother, 32F and 34 male. My younger brother was a later in life baby and absolutely the golden child. He's spoiled as hell and a bully to boot, but he cries to my parents that everyone else is a problem and they believe him. My parents, 57F and 58 male, are great but they are a bit older, very naive about many things, and think the sun shines out of my little brother's ass, which has set the stage for this. I love my brother, but our parents are allowing him to become a coddled, disrespectful shit. I found him looking at alt-right stuff online, and while I don't believe he's that far gone yet, I'm truly worried about the person he is becoming. My parents believe it's a phase, because he's a sweet boy. My brother has recently decided to come out as non-binary. He is insisting on wearing a dress to the wedding. But he's not. I don't make a habit of policing other people's identities, but it is crystal clear to me that he thinks this is a joke. Literally the only time this is ever brought up is when discussing my wedding. He busts out with how he needs to wear a dress to be his true self and then laughs every time. He can't even keep a straight face. He thinks it's the funniest thing ever. And honestly, I'd say fuck it. Whatever if not for one of the groomsmen, my fiance's childhood neighbor and close friend James. He has very recently started his transition and still presents rather feminine, which is a source of stress for him. My brother met James at my fiance's birthday BBQ a few weeks ago, and this began a few days after, which is another reason I believe that this is a way for him to harass James, because he thinks it's funny. He asks why James is allowed to wear a suit and be a groomsman, while my brother is not allowed to wear a dress or be a bridesmaid, since they're the same. Again, while laughing his ass off. I'm 100% sure that my brother is being a transphobic fuckwit, and I'm dead set on preventing him from mocking James like this. My siblings and fiance see exactly what I see, because it's obvious, and are also not okay with this at all. My parents, however, he just tells them they can't tell him his identity, also while laughing hysterically, and that they're being unsupportive if they don't let him, so that made them immediately take his side. I'm threatening security to remove him if he goes through with this, but that would mean turning my parents away too. One of my friends has said it shouldn't be as big of a deal as I'm making it, and he'll only embarrass himself, but I really think James would be uncomfortable. Now for the top comments. You could lean into this so hard. Pretend sincerely believing him. Go over to his house with a bunch of really girly brand shopping bags. OMG, I saw these dresses in your style and thought they'd really suit. You should definitely start wearing dresses now, while the weather is getting nicer. Maybe we can go to X, Y, Z locations and shop. I want to support you in expressing yourself. Should we invite your friends? NTA. Make the little shit wear heels. He'll rethink the whole thing real quick. NTA. I would talk to James and give him a heads up, and then let your brother wear the dress. Offer to go shopping with him to pick one out. $5 says, if you really lean in on this, your brother backs down because he's no longer getting a reaction out of you. This is solid. I bet you're right. Am I the antagonist for telling my son to cancel his wedding? My son is getting married, and he said that I have to come alone to the wedding, not bring my husband, or I can't come at all. Here's my backstory. I've, 49 male, spent my 20s trying to convince me that I'm a straight man. During that time, I got a girl. We were 24, pregnant, and we had a son together. Now 25 male. We were never serious, and I told her about my struggles with my identity already before we slept together. Young and stupid. Not much to do about it. We didn't get married, but we did raise our son together. He spent every other week with me, and I have loved every moment of being his father. I met my now husband when I was 35. He is a great guy, and we have been married for 14 years. My son considers him his stepdad. My son's mom jokes about him being her gay best friend. They really are very close, and he makes me so happy. My son is getting married to his fiancée in 4 weeks. Just last week I received the wedding invitation, but it didn't mention a +1. So I just assumed my husband would get his own. He didn't. So I called my son's mom and asked her if she got a +1 invitation, and she said yes, she is married too. My son and his fiance came over for dinner 2 days ago, and I casually asked them about it. My son got a bit embarrassed and said that they aren't really inviting step-parents, just their parents. I said that okay, but his mom told me her husband is invited. His fiance then said that they would just prefer to have a non-ideological wedding. My husband looked so shocked, and I was honestly just hurt. I told her that sounds a bit homophobic, to which she replied, I'm not a homophobe. I just don't want to deal with this at my wedding. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, well, you know, it's a church wedding. I said, well, you know, we won't burst into flames in the pew. She got upset and demanded they leave, and went to wait for my son in the car. My son was almost crying, and he apologized to me. I told him I love him, and he should really cancel or postpone this wedding, because this woman is showing behavior that will only get worse. He called me an for interfering in his personal life. His mom says he's old enough to do what he pleases, but what they did to us is wrong. My father, no shock there, thinks I should just man up and be a father at the wedding. My friends say Bridazilla is the R, but my brother said I'm an R for not respecting my son's wishes about the wedding. AITA? Now for the top comments. NTA, but your son and his fiancée sure are. If I were up I would just said, well, hopefully you invite us to your next wedding, while they were walking to their car. NTA, I honestly don't see how people can just turn a blind eye to shit like this. Oh hey, I find your dad's loving consensual relationship, insert negative term here, and I don't want to see that at our wedding. Yeah sure, I'm a colossal idiot who doesn't see the endless arguments and family conflict coming. Your son is the asshole if he is going along with this. He never even had the decency to discuss it with you before the invitations went out. He's marrying a bigot and is validating her bigotry. You'll be excluded from all future events too if they have kids. I would refuse to attend without my husband. NTA. And what if Op's son has kids who turn out to be gay? How is the fiancé and her family going to treat them? Op's son should be reconsidering his relationship with her if this is her attitude. And definitely our behavior for allowing her to exclude his stepdad on this basis. NTA, knowingly marrying a bigot makes him a bigot. Sorry about your son. Am I the antagonist for telling my brother he can also be dead to me? I, 17F, recently found out my father has a second family. My mom has since then filed for divorce. My father has been trying to get me and my brother, 15, to have a relationship with his other kids, 17F, 16F, 9 male. We were having dinner at my father. My father let us know he was overjoyed to have all his kids in one room. The 17F mentioned that she was overjoyed, had the opportunity to meet us. She always had to watch from a distance, but is happy to finally have a relationship with us. I was not engaging in the conversation a lot. In fact was getting annoyed, but I was able to keep my annoyance unnoticeable. Until he called the 16F Toti, and she confidently told my brother that it was her special nickname. My brother looked at me in horror, because he knew I was about to lose my shit and my dad knew too. He knew that he messed up. Again. I got up calmly, told my dad that he was fucking dead to me. I told his kids that they're awesome, but I don't want to have a relationship with them. I walked out. My brother of course chased after me because I was his ride home. My brother on the way home told me I overreacted and that it wasn't that serious. I interrupted him and said that he can also be dead to me if he doesn't choose his next words carefully. He just said NVM. That nickname is special to me. My grandpa, mom's dad, gave me that nickname because he thought that it was extraordinary that I was able to walk at 7, 8 months old. He never called me by my name. Always by my nickname. He even said my nickname over and over again when he was on his deathbed. It's so special to me even though it just means small in my language. A language that I know my father doesn't speak. He only speaks English. And I'm not going to share that nickname with someone that doesn't even know what it means. Especially not my father's other kid. My brother knows how much that nickname means to me. I maybe shouldn't have said that to him. but he also shouldn't have said that to me. That's why I feel like he deserved it. My brother is really upset and my mom feels like I shouldn't have reacted in that way. But I feel justified in my reaction because it was my special nickname and my father just gave it to somebody else. My brother didn't show an ounce of sympathy for me. My mom said that my father and brother don't have to be my enemy. I agree, my brother isn't my enemy, but my father will be my enemy until the day he dies. So am I the asshole for telling my brother that he can also be dead to me? Now for the top comments. Your dad wasn't happy with just having a second secret family. He had to steal your nickname and give it to his other daughter that knew he was cheating on your mother by the line. She always had to watch from a distance so the kids knew. And the mother of those kids knew too. So the whole second family is kind of an a-hole. And your brother knew what that nickname meant, since he looked at you the moment you heard it. So he has no business telling you to calm down or that you overreacted. NTA. Right, this is mind-boggling. How do you have 3 whole kids with a married man and settle for being his other family? How do you let your kids grow up knowing they're not good enough to be publicly acknowledged by their father? Those kids grew up watching his legitimate family from afar and hoping one day they'll be good enough to be a part of it. How messed up is that? Not that I'm letting him off the hook. Having a 2-decade-long affair and getting your mistress pregnant basically at the same time as your wife, multiple times, it's sociopathic. NTA. And I'm totally stealing the "if you don't choose your next words carefully" line. This is a fucked up situation for sure. Learning that your father has a second family, including daughters your age, one of whom he gave the same nickname as you, and you shouldn't mind either of those things. Definitely not the a-hole. He probably did that to not call the girl by his other daughter's name. NTA. What your father did was absolutely disgusting. And your brother's action after was no better, especially when he saw you about to lose it. When it was said, you have every right to feel this way and your brother should most definitely apologize to you for being so insensitive about it. NTA. I can respect Op's position. Her biological father knew exactly how bad he fucked up and earned his daughter's fury, betraying his family for friggin' 17 years and then somehow managing to betray his daughter worse. That's not something that will calm down for decades. At best, most likely never. The brother Otto just screwed up, not betrayal. Op is justified in her fury, but should cut the brother appropriate slack after calming down. Most likely brother is just trying to please everyone to calm down everyone, especially including himself. He's probably hurting quite a bit. Hopefully the other copy kid figures out to avoid Opus. She's not to blame for the nickname. The daddies admitting she knew their father was a cheating off for a long time and kept silent was not going to make a great first impression. Am I the antagonist for refusing to take care of my possible sibling? I, F17, might have a new sibling, which is concerning because my mother is 45 years old and pregnancy at that age is risky. I don't mind a new sibling, but I do mind that I might be the one to take care of it. My mother would tell my sister, F22, that we would be responsible for the kid, and she would joke that the kid would be outed as the child of my sister, making the kid their grandchild, which made my sister and I uncomfortable. I pointed out that we didn't want to take care of the possible kid, but we would probably help sometimes, since they were the ones who wanted to have a new kid. My mother and father kind of became mad at that, saying that it was our responsibility as the older ones. And I was being selfish for saying that they should be the ones to take care of the new child. They said that the possible new kid was a blessing, which I wasn't denying BTW. It's just that I really don't want to take care of them. I already feel exhausted mentally and physically with the stress from school as well as the anxiety of not knowing what I want to do with my life. And I don't want to add taking care of a child to one of my worries. Plus, I can barely take care of myself. But I still feel a bit bad that I was called selfish for not wanting to take care of the possible new kid. So am I the antagonist? For clarification, my mother is already pregnant, and I use the word might since the kid is not born yet. Thanks. Now for the top comments. NTA. It's not your child. It's their child. Their responsibility. Not your child. Not your responsibility. It's not your child. So it's not their grandchild. It's their child. So they will be taking care of their child. I think it's clear that this is an oopsie baby and they're trying to pawn off the child and all the responsibility off on you and or your sister. You and your sister together need to explain and drill it into their head that this is their child and neither of you will be taking care or raising this child for them. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. NTA. Tell them that if you wanted to raise a damn kid, you'd have your own. It is not the responsibility of the older ones to raise the younger ones. Nor do you have an obligation to do so when they are perfectly capable. That is a terrible take. And I'm sorry they are putting that on you. Stand your ground on this. Being your age is hard enough. Agreed, not the a-hole. Being our age is hard. I just turned 22. I struggled my teen life because my mom worked night and day to support my younger half brother and I was forced to care for him while she worked. You need to fend for yourself, even if it means leaving your parents' house and living elsewhere. The stress of their offspring isn't your issue, not your circus, not your manners as stated by someone else. Am I the antagonist for kicking my boyfriend and his friend out of my car in the middle of our road trip? My boyfriend, 27 male, and I, 26F, decided to go on a road trip like we do every year. This year he said he doesn't want to ruin his new car and suggested we go in my car. He also requested to do the driving, but I told him it's my car, then I sharp drive it. He tried to make comments about how my driving is slow and inconsistent but eventually dropped it and we went. He brought his buddy with him and they both sat in the back. Once we got on the road, my boyfriend started making comments about my driving while asking me to let him drive instead. I ignored him and kept driving, but then he and his friends kept saying things like you're driving like a gyro, wait you are a girl, then they start laugh and then say your driving is as bad as our old neighbor. Again I ignored them, but they go again with Srusly. Who taught you to drive like that? And hope the cops pull us over and end this misery. I couldn't take it anymore and I began to lose my temper. So I told them to stop and that if either of them make one comment about my driving, then I'd kick them out. My boyfriend glanced at me, then things got quiet for about 5 minutes, then he finally mumbled, alright, I think we should call 911 because your driving is causing me brain damage. I snapped. I immediately stopped the car and told him I had enough and that he had to get out. He tried to argue saying I was overreacting and he was just trying to teach me to drive better, but I told him to get out. His friend came at me defending him, but I told him to get out too. My boyfriend then said I was nuts because we were in the middle of nowhere but there was a gas station nearby. I told them both to get out and put their bags on the side of the road, then drove off. I went home instead of continuing the trip and I cried all the way till I got there. Later I had an argument with my boyfriend upon his return and he told me it was cruel of me to kick him and his friend out and ruin the trip over few comments they made with good intentions. I told him that he mocked my driving the entire time and called it horrible, and in response he said he was just being honest with me and that this is all my fault for refusing to let him drive in the first place. Now we are not even talking and he keeps huffing and puffing around me for doing this to him and his friend. Now for the top comments. NTA. Toss your whole boyfriend out. She definitely did. On the side of the road with his crap. She just needs to keep up that momentum and get him the rest of the way out of her life. Only until he came back home. Lasted an hour. NTA had stopped being a joke the moment you warned them to stop and told them what would happen if they didn't. If he wanted to drive, it should have been in his car. Am I the antagonist for not stopping my workout for someone to make a video? This is becoming more and more common at the surrounding gyms, which is really annoying and a reason I've changed gyms more than once this year alone. Working out is a pillar of my everyday life, and it has been for the past 10 years, and I'm at the gym every day of the week. Now, I don't go to the gym to talk to people, make friends or make funny videos. I go to train and go home. However, now with the new video trends, many folks want to record their exercises to post on social media. This is their business and not mine. They can do whatever they want. But I also don't think I need to stop doing my own workout to accommodate them. Last night, I was doing squats on the Smith machine. I work out with headphones and didn't notice someone trying to get my attention. I suddenly felt a tap on my shoulder mid-squat, and only then I noticed a woman with a very annoyed expression. She barely allowed me to finish the movement to start talking, which was muffled due to headphones. Long story short, she was annoyed because I was training in the Smith machine, as she wanted to record herself doing regular squats. However, she said the best spot was in front of that Smith machine. There's more than one, and she didn't want me on the frame. So she wanted me to stop my series for her to record. Now, usually, if someone comes to me with a good attitude and asks if it's okay for me to stop for a series or two for them to record, or even move machines, I would absolutely not mind and comply. That woman did nothing of the sort, being extremely arrogant and honestly, extremely annoying. So, I was petty, and told her to record once I was done, and proceeded to do every single exercise I could on the same Smith machine. Squats, Smith. Hip thrust, Smith. It was petty, and I know I shouldn't have done it, but I felt very vindicated, seeing her annoying expression. That being said, a few people said I was an asshole for doing that, as there were other machines I could use. Honestly, they might be right, but hey, I thought I'd ask the internet. Was I too much of an asshole here? Now for the top comments. NTA. I thought it was common gym etiquette to wait until someone was done using the equipment before doing your thing with the equipment. Whatever you are planning to do, you don't get to cut in line because you are filming and you're a social media influencer or whatever nonsense. Video monkeys tend to consider themselves an exception. There's only one spot that's good for a video that doesn't pick up half the gym. The red plates are prettier than the black ones. I need a machine to use and another to act as a stand for my camera. Ugh, so annoying. NTA. First off, who the fuck interrupts someone mid-squat? A lot of gyms have a no recording policy where I live. In my last gym, these people just got reported to the fitness manager. Seriously, touching someone mid-squat could easily lead to someone getting seriously hurt.